Hello, everybody. It's Ron and Hope Unfiltered, and he's aggravating me already. What are you doing? You on purpose.
I ain't seen you. You've been staying at home.
No, that's not true.
You've been staying at home. I've been working all day.
You just try to aggravate me.
I was trying to grab this thing with my rings.
No, you were not. Anyway, and I've been home because I've been sick.
But they've missed you. And
I've been sick. Today is my first day of feeling much, much better. 24 hours of antibiotics sure do help.
She gave it to me.
How?
The other day when we went swimming, you gave it to me. You started trying to kiss me. I said, and I was turning my head. I was like, I don't want to be sick.
Okay.
You kissed me anyway, and then there I was that night taking NyQuil, trying to stop my runny nose and open up my head and my throat and everything else. But so anyway,
surprised you got
before we came on, you were talking about your pants touching in the back. What does that mean?
Your pants.
What does that mean?
Pockets touching.
How not touching the back?
Close your butt cheeks are. They're like two little pieces of bread.
I have transformed my glutes.
No, you haven't, babe. You need to give that up because it don't work on you.
I really have.
Squats
I got that squat thing.
I
can't put it on my back because of all my issues, but I got the belt squat thing.
You just need to focus on another muscle group.
I mean, like, bam. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I
think you got a stronghold. Mm-hmm. It's a lie you've taken to be the truth about your.
Mine has gotten to the size I put on a pair of sweats, so then they look like leggings. They did. They look like leggings.
No.
So I had to go up in a size. I went and got me another pair. It used to be large, now I'm XL.
Oh.
No, so that they don't look like leggings on me.
That would be the most horrible.
But I've transformed my glutes. My glutes. She used to make fun of me.
Would be you and
I
some leggings.
I couldn't take the scourge of her remarks anymore. So I got some machines to target those areas of my life, and it just
areas of your life.
I've been asked, have I had a butt job?
Oh,
I've
God.
Been asked. I have been asked, and I told him.
Y'all see what I live with?
I told him, I said,
you
no,
see
that's
what I
natural.
have to live with.
That's natural. I said, I've worked hard for it, and it's natural. That tailor who's doing that suit, I was like, no, this is all natural.
They were like, wow, your shoulders are so broad, but your hips are so little.
We're not talking about hips. We're not talking about hips. We're talking about glutes. My hips are narrow, but I've transformed my glutes and my upper thighs, the whole area of my lunges.
I wish we had a picture to show.
I ain't taken no pictures since my transformation. I don't think those before and afters would do good on Instagram. I probably catch a lot of flack for that. But just so everybody knows, one of those guys where your back goes straight to your legs.
That's you.
I'm no longer that.
That is you.
I have changed that. I now have symmetry.
Oh, okay. Well, what are we talking about today? Now that we've totally wasted
I've missed
3
you
minutes.
now because that's what we do. We kid back and forth with each other. And I ain't been able to do it. I had to do one by myself, and I did one with Jonathan. I don't know. We call him Paco, yeah. But me and you, 3 weeks ago, we started saying we're going to go through every decade, 35 years. And by the way, just celebrated on the West Coast. And
it was so good.
Yeah, let's talk about that a second. On the West Coast, I was sketchy about even trying it, and y'all talked me into it. Y'all ganged up on me.
You're going to learn to listen.
Talked me into it. I just didn't know.
Reason.
We've been here a while now. We've been here 8 years, but it's a 35-year anniversary, and I just didn't. And most of the people here, by far and away, have started coming since COVID. So you're really talking now 5 years. And
yeah,
so
but listen,
I just didn't know if we could pull them in to that experience.
If we didn't celebrate, that would be like not inviting your current friends to your birthday party. That's stupid.
Well, what I didn't want to do is, could we make them feel like they were a part of a 35-year journey, only having been here, some of them weeks, months, maybe a few of them a few years.
It wasn't even about that to me. It was about celebrating the whole journey and letting them see what got us to where we are today. And I think we accomplished that.
I think we accomplished that, but I think it's more than they saw it. I think they felt it. I think there were some moving parts about it. I think there's some parts that were downright emotional. Some of the people that did videos went far beyond, your best days are still ahead of it. And it was very heartfelt.
Yeah.
Two of them in particular were very heartfelt.
And speaking of that, I want us to stop right here, and I want you to see one of the videos from Pastor Stephen Furtick. So special. Elevation Church. Listen.
And I found a guy who looked like he'd been around for a while, and I said, hey, man, I need a church. I need you to tell me a church that's like alive, that's like, I'm filled with the Spirit of God. I need somewhere to go that I'll blow my mind. He said, you want to blow your mind? I said, I want to blow my mind. He goes, Redemption World Outreach Center. I said, okay. I wrote it down. I found a phone book. This is how old I am. I called the front desk. I found out that they had a Wednesday night service. It was Wednesday. I drive 40 minutes to this building that was kind of like near an airport or something. I don't know, over close to the mall. I'm all by myself. I walk in, and there's this guy, Apostle Ron, they called him, who was preaching like a tornado mixed with a cyclops, mixed with a bulldozer. Like he rolls through like a tank, just obliterating the devil. And I drove all the way back to college going, what was that? Who is this guy, Ron Carpenter? What is Redemption World Outreach Center? I found the guy who told me to go. I was like, you're right. It blew my mind. I'm going back Sunday. He's like, you going back Sunday? I'm like, yeah, I'm going back Sunday. I crammed everybody that I could get to come with me in my Toyota Tercel. I think I had like 5 people in the Toyota Tercel. I'm like, you've got to come with me to Redemption World Outreach Center. You got to hear this guy, Ron Carpenter. It's amazing. You got to see it. And what I didn't know at the time is that I wasn't just attending a church that would blow my mind. I was actually seeing for the first time in my life a model of excellence and passion and faith that would shape my entire ministry.
Well, you know what? That was special.
It was.
That was special.
I mean, very.
And I
don't think the world at large really knows that story about y'all's journey together.
We haven't publicized it, me or him, either one. I don't like the name drop because, you know, God's just used him and taken him galactic, and he has this, not only the church and the ministry and the speaking approach, but now the music. And so God's used him on a high level. And sometimes when people do that, they name drop all the time. And so the fact is, I hardly ever bring up his name or anything like that. But I do remember, and I'm aging myself because he's in his 40s now. Last time me and him talked, we was talking about getting a few gray hairs here and there.
It happens.
But yeah, we were chuckling about that. But I got some years on him. But even from an early age, I don't know. I can't go spend time with every 18-year-old. But I just sensed the hand of God was on his life. I really did. I sensed.
You always know.
I sensed there was something special about him at that time as a kid. And I remember, I think I come home even with you. This Furtick kid, he's going to be special, you know. Yeah. And so we did get to see him time and time again. I remember him coming to the services. He didn't say it, but I think he kind of got in trouble one time. Something tells me on some level.
He went to a Baptist college.
Yeah, he went to a Baptist college, and on some level, I think he was approached about, they weren't crazy about him bringing a bunch of, because he started bringing people.
Yeah.
And I think.
You dance close to that fire,
I think
you'll get burned.
I think they weren't crazy about that. I don't know how deep that was or how serious it was, but it seems like he told me a story about that one time. But the whole thing was, we talked about the 90s. And then me and Jonathan, I talked to him about the 2000s. I was remembering so many things that I just, not forgot, but I just don't think about no more. And the more we talked, the more I remembered them. And there were a lot of them funny, a lot of them difficult. The 2010s, the third decade of ministry those were some. It was the lowest.
I was about to say.
It was the lowest, and then
the best.
Seeing God maybe do some things we had never. Here's what I've called it. It was the time in my life. You may say something different. What happened in Ron Carpenter? It was the time in my life were two things God spoke to me specifically. Do I believe all these sermons I've been preaching? Mm-hmm. Do they work for me? Because if they don't work for me, get off the pulpit and quit preaching it.
Yeah.
Number two, he told me the greatest message will not be preached with your lips.
With your life.
It will be preached with my life. And let my life speak. And but anyway, for those of you who don't know, without going into the details, because it's way too documented, and of course, Hope got a whole book where the theme of the book is walking through that and coming out of it. But we were separated 2013. Mm-hmm. So 13 years
into
ago,
14.
We were separated 2013 into 14 after some extremely hurtful experiences that was very well documented, publicly chronicled. Everybody who didn't like us had a wonderful time with it. You know, your enemies like it. It's like Samson when they pulled his eyes out. They put him in front of the people, and he became their entertainment.
Yeah.
His downfall became their entertainment. It is amazing how many people could not wait for the day a mistake was made, and we could suffer because of it. And it's sad, but it was. And there were people everywhere coming after us, and they wanted to grind us into powder. But you know, I don't know that we want to spend the whole thing talking about that, but it was almost like a death and resurrection.
It was for me,
you know,
personally.
You know that you went. This evades me. Did you go to Living Waters for 7 months?
9 months.
9 months, and then back and forth after that. Was that right?
For a year.
9 months, and then back and forth for a year, and then we did some family stuff intertwined there as well. I went. We did some family stuff. But we talked about this, how, you know, we went in, how did we get here? The first thing you got to do is you got to survive the bomb blast. Then after the bomb blast, then you got to start cleaning up. And the bomb blast was brutal, and the cleanup was horrendous. But the fact is, we made a decision to stay together. You got there before I did. I came there a couple of months on down the line. And after God was dealing with my heart, we were going to try to take the road less traveled. And so the church, and I love Redemption for this, never wavered.
No.
I ain't gonna get emotional, but they never. Hope, I remember the day after I announced that you and I were separated. I got in the car. You're talking about anxiety, man. Just the weight of what we were going through. I got in the car. I didn't even drive. I never get drivers. I drive myself. But I had a guy pick me up and carry me back home that day. Security. And I remember I got back in the car and said, I wonder if anybody will be here next week. And our church was a church of
thousands,
8, 9, 10,000 people. And I remember the next week driving up, and they were standing down the sidewalks waiting to get in. They never wavered, and Hope, that's not normal.
No, redemption is a special
different.
place.
Redemption's different.
But I think God helped us to build it different too, like that. I mean, we love our people. We've always been in the face of our people. We love them. We don't just love a crowd. We truly are concerned with people's lives. We've helped people, so many people over the years, personally be restored. The healing, the heart, the emphasis we put on growing people, healing people, loving people right where they are. That's paid off over the years.
Speaking of Stephen, I remember Stephen having a conversation with me saying I don't want to name drop again, but it's another very well-known pastor, saying he and that pastor was talking when they were watching us go through that, and how the church had just stayed right there with us. And they said they had a conversation. Do you think your church would stay with you? And they both came to the conclusion they didn't know if the church would. Now, this ain't no indictment. Now, this is a long time ago, and Stephen's church was a lot younger. Mm-hmm. But, you know, kudos to Redemption. I mean, they didn't waver. And in fact, when I didn't think it looked good for us to get back together, they hunkered
prayed
down.
us back together.
They hunkered down. I mean, they weren't having it. You remember that? I mean,
I
some of them
remember
like the
day
devil
you
is a
stood
lie.
up
Yeah.
and said, well, I wasn't there.
I didn't
but
make
you
a
stood
statement that
up.
we weren't going to have. I said, I'm not seeking.
Yeah, he said, I'm not seeking
restore it.
reconciliation.
Yeah, reconciliation.
And I remember your assistant, Carol Liddy, she told me, because she had come up to see me at Living Water, she said, first time I ever had to rebuke my pastor, she said, he said that. And I said, the devil is a lie. She said, everybody on our whole row said the devil is a lie.
They weren't having it.
Pretty special people.
Let me tell you something. They could not conceive of a life without Ron and Hope. It's never been Hope. It's never been Ron. It's the same sentence, Ron and Hope. And you know what? It's what I call the four crazy friends, the people who tore the roof off and let the paralytic down in the house to be with Jesus. We didn't have four crazy friends. We had several thousand
Yeah, we did.
crazy friends. And when you didn't have faith for yourself, they dug in and had faith for us.
And then when I came back, publicly in January of 2014, that was so memorable for me. I was so nervous.
Jog my memory. That's fuzzy to me because that was a very difficult time.
It was in January, and you
There's
said,
a clip of it on the
yes,
anniversary.
And you said, I want you to come back, because nobody knew we had reconciled. We didn't tell the church.
Well, we had, we're going to try to stick. We'd started the journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they didn't know I was coming in that Sunday, anything. And we came walking in on stage hand in hand, and they went up like a football stadium, screaming. And yeah, it almost felt like an outer body experience for me, because I was so nervous and embarrassed and didn't know what I was going to say. But they just...
Did you talk?
Yes.
That day?
Yes. They just welcomed me and loved me. And
I got to be honest with you, that's fuzzy in my mind.
It is.
Those were
etched.
tough days.
It's
Those were tough
etched
days
in my mind.
But I could see how that would be etched in your mind because of the
special.
anxiety
Yeah.
of, do they still love me? Will they still embrace me? All those things had to be going through your head, not really from the enemy, but just even from yourself. Just yourself.
Natural.
And they just never wavered. It was amazing. And so we went on in that, and it took us a while. You know, we didn't go out and give people a play-by-play every Sunday, but they got to watch.
Yeah.
Two
And
people.
I didn't minister for another 2 years. I didn't hold a microphone. I didn't do anything.
And, that's a whole nother subject, restoration. Like, do you hold yourself to the same standards? You gave up your credentials and never touched a microphone for 2 years, I think it was. And then went through a process that I have never seen anybody go through before or since. I've never had another pastor of mine go through. And so, but here again, to be legitimate and have authority when we approach others that need to go through a process, we had to go through one ourselves, and we did. And now we are a testament that, the sermons do work. And what the Bible said is true, and God is faithful. And I hate that we disappoint. You don't want to disappoint nobody.
Right.
But sometimes the standard of perfection that we want from our Christian leaders is unrealistic. It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
And although I don't want to ever let anybody down, I think that was the devastating thing to me, is I didn't want to be a guy that let people down. I do appreciate the fact that we had prayed people through at the altars, and we had walked marriages through all kind of stuff, and leaders through stuff, and addictions and this and that and other, and we stayed with them. And then finally, when we needed it,
Yeah, they were there.
they stayed with us.
Yeah.
So you reap what you sow.
That's right.
What else you remember about the 2010s?
2010s. Isn't that when Todd Galbraith came?
Todd Galbraith came. Steve and Lori were there in 2008 till about 14.
Yeah.
And then Todd Galbraith came.
Love
He and
having
Ashley
Todd
was our
with
worship
us.
leader. That was a little bit of a different flavor.
Yeah, it was
Todd brought a
great.
little bit of a different sound to the house. Great years. I do know it was also probably the years where we built a lot of stability. Redemption always probably, it wasn't volatile, but even with its size, it was fragile because it was new. It was the first of its kind. me and you are trying to figure it out.
And
me
it was in the building stages.
Yeah, we were
I would
just
say the teens were
stabilization.
everything was
Stabilization.
and it was healthy.
Yeah,
super healthy.
this system works. This works for us. This don't work. These people right here, these are long termers. You know, the people quit cycling in and out, and then you know, the paying off of debt, the finishing up the campus. You know, first we need a building. We need a building. We need a building. Well, that kind of stopped. We had built the campus. Now we could quit building stuff and just build people. And I think that was probably also the years where I matured a lot in my understanding of the kingdom.
Yeah.
See, the 2000s was learning the kingdom. Mm-hmm. But once we got into, you know, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I became a teacher of the kingdom.
Yeah.
So my theology, my learning, my walk with God, I think was so much more mature after we walked through what we did. Mm-hmm. There's this, I've told people the other night, I said, you have an unshakableness to you. That is the total opposite of the girl I married. When I married you, you had a fragility to you. And you were perfect because I'm a protector. But I knew when I met you, you had a personality that was as strong as garlic, but I knew under the veneer there was something as fragile as crystal under there. And then later on we found out why, when you know, you just crumbled on the inside. But there became a steadfastness out of you that even when something happens and you see me get a little bit wild-eyed, I said, hope is that one that'll grab my jaw and say, look at me. And you'll remind me, this is who you are, this is what you're called to do, and this is what the Word says. And I wouldn't take anything for that.
When you've lived long enough, we're almost in our 6th decade.
Don't be saying stuff like that to people.
That when you've lived long enough, I told the church this Sunday, you have so much history with God. And you know the ups and the downs and the times you were afraid and the times you didn't think he'd come through. But he always comes through. And you see the faithfulness of God. You see the pattern. So you learn, you know, there's no reason to worry. There's no reason to freak out because I know the God I serve and I know the promises of God over my life are yes and amen. So I think time does that for you.
Well, there was a man who built his house upon the rock.
Yep.
There's a man who built his house upon the sand. The rock are those that hear the word and do it.
Yeah.
The sand are those that hear it. So when the storm comes, it washes one of them away, but the other one who has done the word, experienced the word, walked it out and seen God's faithfulness, you can't move that person.
No, you cannot.
You just can't move that person.
Because you know what you know.
So I have this wife now that has kept all those beautiful things about her personality that just I adored.
Tell me more.
But you also
tell me more.
You still, and I'm still your protector, and I love that role. But you have this steadfastness that makes me feel so solid inside. It just makes me feel solid because I don't get moved much, but when I do, you don't. And I think that's a great marriage because if you both get thrown off at the same time, you're in trouble.
Yeah. So we are now, what happens in 2018?
2018. Well, people don't know 2018 is when we announced and went through a 6 months transition. But the fact is, it started about 2015 when I went and preached at Thunder at the Bay. And I want to say this because Pastor Dick is just the most wonderful guy. Pastor Dick was tired. Pastor Dick was in his he was in his mid-70s, and he was just tired. And he had very honest conversations with me. There were no surprises. He told me I should have retired years ago. He said I'm tired. He was looking for a successor in California, and I have preached in so many churches over my life. That's what I do. I go places and I preach, but it was that one time I went out and called you and I said, man, this place could be crazy. This place could be crazy. And I've never called you after I walked out of a church and said that. And so, but we had no intentions of moving.
We'd never been to California for anything.
No, I went one time.
We'd never vacationed.
Yes, I'd been one time to San Francisco for actually a conference. And, but 3 years of him throwing hints that he felt like I was the successor, and I didn't even take it seriously. We didn't pray about, because I wasn't even entertaining it. I was perfectly happy in what we had built, and we'd just come through, and the dust was settled, and we were enjoying things. And then I told you one time, I said, we might ought to pray. I said, this man's not going to stop. And when we prayed, that was where we first started feeling the uh-oh. And that's a whole nother 10 podcast in itself. But we expanded to the West Coast. I didn't have intentions. I wanted to be a spiritual father that could leave something alone, leave the next in line alone, and not come back and interfere.
Yeah.
And let them do their thing. But our transition was not successful, and we were not able to achieve the things we wanted to. So after COVID, we went back and reopened back there, but we kind of call it Redemption 2.0. And somebody said, what is Redemption 2.0? I said, I'm so excited about Redemption 2.0 because I get to correct all my mistakes. Somebody told me Thomas Edison saw his house burning down. He's the great inventor. Mm-hmm. And somebody came up to him and said, is this the worst day of your life? He said, no. He said, all my mistakes are burning up. I get to do it right this time. And that's kind of the way I looked at it. In fact, I think I told you that verbatim. I said, well, maybe I can go back and do some things right.
I think we did a lot right.
I think we did more than I think, but I know we exploded, and I had no real leadership in my life, and I was grasping. I was doing everything by trial and error.
Yeah.
And some of it worked. A lot of it worked.
And I don't know that huge numbers equal a great foundation or a great building. We did a lot of things right, but we were young too.
That's what I'm talking about.
We made a lot of mistakes.
We made a lot of mistakes.
But I feel so blessed to get to have lived all those years and learned all those lessons and met so many amazing people. There's so many amazing people that have come really in and out of our life over the years. But just because they're not in our life now doesn't mean that they're not wonderful. Right. Got some great relationships.
And some of them are circling back on our 35th anniversary on the 30th
back.
at Greenville. They come visit us.
Yeah, I can't wait.
We've invited them. A lot of them said, I'd love to be there. So we're looking forward to that. So we're doing our 35th anniversary there on the 30th of this month.
If you're near Greenville,
you're within a driving radius,
South Carolina, on the 30th of August, come visit us, 315 Row, R-O-E, Row Road, Greenville 29611 at 9 a.m. or 11:15 a.m. It's going to be
I think it's going to be an amazing day. We put a lot of work into it. But anyway, that encapsulates, it was kind of the downfall, and then the being brought by the hand of God out of the ashes, and then a huge transition of, moving from East Coast to West Coast. That decade was filled with a lot of moving parts, a lot of changes, especially for somebody nearing midlife.
Yeah.
Most people are trying to settle in. They're tired of all that. And we upset our life the most at midlife.
God doesn't really care with us about age, does he?
No. So anyway, but I hope you've enjoyed that as we just sit here and reminisce a little bit about it. And let me echo what she said. If you are in a place where you can get there, and some of you come to the 9 o'clock service, we're concerned everybody's going to come to 11:15, and I don't make sure we got room for everybody. Our services, both of them there, are attended very well, but we got more room in the 9 o'clock than the 11. So come out there, come early. We've got a whole production we put together. Yes,
so don't be late.
Yes, it's praise and worship. Yes, I'm going to be preaching. So we're going to have that, but we've got a lot of other too that I think will be moving to you because you can see the hand of God through the whole thing.
Yep.
Amen.
It's been good. Thank you for being with us, Ron and Hope Unfiltered, real, raw, relevant.
See you soon.